All right, Rib Lake Middle School, we are going to just briefly here look at what the weekly schedule will be in the middle school. You'll notice first thing, the days of the week are here listed at the top, and the teachers and staff members are listed on the side. And then each activity for each day of the week with that staff member are going to be listed in those cells or boxes there. You'll notice that on Monday, most all teachers are leading a mini lesson or an activity. I'm really excited about. Teachers are signing up for different things that they can teach us with that time that they might not have necessarily had an opportunity to teach you in some of their classes. And our teachers are offering some really cool things like origami, yoga, bird calls, fishing lure techniques, stuff that I really want to learn too. I want to take some of these classes. So how that will work is in a lunch period, there will be sheets on the wall, and then starting with 8th grade, those students will sign up for one of those activities. As soon as that activity is full, it won't be able to be signed up for anymore. Next will be 7th grade, 6th grade, and then so on. So that's Monday. Those will be offered starting the first couple weeks of school. So it'll take a little bit of time to get those up and running because we do have to have signups, but those will be there soon. So I'm excited for those. On Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have a couple different things going on. One of which is a reward day. So if you were in the middle school last year, you remember that you had an activity period, and if you had all of your work in, none of it was missing, you got to participate in that reward day. We have the same thing this year, except instead of everyone having a reward day on the same day of the week, we're dividing classes up and they're going to take turns going to the gym. So you can see here on Tuesday, Mrs. Burns' students in PLT and Mr. Bailing's students in PLT are all going to go to the gym on that day. On Wednesday, Mr. Adams' group and Mr. and Mr. Nenig, their groups are all going to go to the gym. You'll see that on Thursday, Mrs. Gallhart and Ms. Radke's students are all going to go to the gym. And then on Friday, Ms. Anderson, Mr. Dobbs, Mrs. Hebda, and Mr. Robish / Mrs. Leonard, all of those students will go to the gym on Friday for their reward day. One of the teachers will be supervising that group, and the other one will be having their own lunch because they'll be doing lunch duty that day. Very much the same rules that we've had in the past on missing assignments, except instead of going to a separate room, there's going to be a table in the gym for those students to catch up on some of the work, which just makes sense, right? If a student doesn't have their work in, it doesn't make sense for them to be using that time to shoot hoops or play football or something like that. If you are in Mr. Dobbs or Ms. Anderson's PLT groups, when you don't have a reward day or a mini activity that you're doing on Monday, you are going to be working on some intervention strategies with them. They're going to be working with you individually very much the same way that they have in the past. If you are in Mrs. Burns' PLT, you're going to be working on some ELA strategies. And so because of test scores, we see that, hey, everybody has an area to grow in, and ELA is something that we can work on. And so Mrs. Burns is going to lead you guys in some lessons and work with you there. Mr. Adams' students are going to work on math interventions, so some strategies that will help them in areas that they need. Mr. Bailing's groups are going to work on executive functioning, so that would be like assignment notebooks, time management, prioritizing, making lists, things like that. So he's going to really be working with those students on that. Mr. and Mrs. Nettig students, Mrs. Gallhart students, Mrs. Hebda students, and Mrs. Radke students are all going to be working on IXL. So the first day of the week that you have that isn't a mini lesson or a ward day is going to be math interventions using IXL. The second day is going to be ELA interventions using IXL. And then the third day is either going to be math or ELA, depending on where a student needs the most help. And you'll be working with your reading and ELA and math teacher to determine what would be the best place for you to be working with that third day. Mr. Robish and Mrs. Leonard are going to be having the same group of kids, but they're going to be switching back and forth who's helping to supervise those kids. The students that are in Mr. Robish and Mrs. Leonard's PLT are students who have both band and choir. So because they have both band and choir, they don't have any study hall that 9th hour, and so they'll be able to use that PLT time as an actual study hall, which only makes sense. They don't have time to work, and a lot of those students need to be able to use the internet at the school, and so that time is for them to use that. All right, so that's the middle school PLT schedule. What the daily schedule will look like is you will go into your regular classroom you're assigned to for that day. Miss Courtney is going to read announcements. We're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then you're going to go through assignment notebooks and just make sure those are updated. And then you're going to work on the activity for that day. Perfect. Hey, thank you guys so much for listening. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your teacher or to myself. But yeah, thanks so much for listening and thanks for a great PLT this upcoming year. Bye, guys.